Welcome. You join me from the most popular luxury spot in a vehicle in India. I'm sitting in the rear seat of the new Mercedes-Benz-E-Class, and quite frankly, from what I'm seeing, I understand why that is. So which I shall now explain in this video. Since the W124 arrived back in 1995, Mercedes-Benz E-Class has been the most popular choice of luxury vehicle in India. Mercedes-Benz has sold around 46,000 of them to date in the market. This is the new E-Class which has been launched in the Indian market, which brings new styling updates, a lot more tech and a new engine as well. Now, if you're going to buy a mid-size luxury sedan, you're going to find yourself most of the time where I'm sitting. And the E-Class being offered only in the long wheelbase form means that you have space in abundance. In fact, I don't even need to address how much space there is. As you can see, additionally with the chauffeur package, you can control the front seat by yourself from here. You can change the reclining angle and create more leg room and more leg space if you need. As you would expect from an E-Class, the rear seat itself, which I'm sitting on, is extremely comfortable as well. You get these really supportive leather seats. You can also change the reclining angle of the backrest. You get this really nice, soft, cushy pillow. So it's a nice and comfortable place to be. If you need privacy, you get these rear blinds. You also get rear blinds on the quarter window panels as well. There is a smartphone wireless charger. This tablet here also controls the MBUX system, which I shall explain later in the video. So it controls a lot of functions in the car. You have a decent amount of storage. There is another cup holder in front. You have your own dedicated AC vents with controls as well. You can control the panoramic sunroof, which is a beautiful feature. But right now it's a little too sunny, so we're not opening it. Now you can also fold up this center armrest to make space for another third passenger. Of course, this transmission tunnel is a little high for my opinion, but there's so much space in the back, I don't think that would be much of a problem because there's so much legroom. Now the suspension is something that we need to talk about and address from the rear seat as well. The E-Class has always been a car that rides very well. So from the back seat, it seems it's very comfortable, even though this car isn't fitted with the optional air suspension. Additionally, the sound isolation in the back and in the entire cabin as a whole, it's really nice. It filters out so much of the noise from the outside. You only hear certain things that you really need to. Otherwise, it's fairly silent. But let me take you through the rest of the car before we begin to drive it. Bhaiya ji, left pe rokna. As for the outside, the vehicle is based on the old model, of course, but Mercedes has given it a rather significant facelift. At the front, it gets a new trapezoidal front grille, flanked by the newly designed headlamps, and the tail lamps are new as well. All in line with the latest global Mercedes-Benz design language. This 5-meter long sedan sits on 17-inch alloy wheels. The overall package is elegant and it looks sophisticated as always, while there are elements like the power bulges on the bonnet show that it means business. But there is now an AMG line which gives the E-Class a more aggressive stance with some sporty touches, along with a lot of tech and features in the cabin. The cabin has been reworked relatively a lot. You get the same basic layout as before, but there are a lot of new changes in the car. For example, you get a brand new steering wheel. It feels great. The materials are of course beautiful. I love the fact that the buttons on the steering wheel are touch sensitive, but they're also physical buttons. Additionally, the old analog dials have been replaced with this seamless glass panel that stretches across the dash. Now you get a complete digital instrument cluster in front of you, which is extremely customizable and gives you so much of information, maybe more than you ever need. On the left side of the driver, you get the touchscreen infotainment system. And like we mentioned before, this comes with the new MBUX system, the MBUX Mercedes-Benz User Experience. You get a new touchscreen which works very well. You also get the Hey Mercedes voice activated commands in addition to the Mercedes Me Connect app. Now, this being a slightly older vehicle itself, the platform, you get a physical button for the HVAC controls, which in my opinion I love. It's really distracting to have touchscreen systems just for this kind of function. Also, there is a new touchpad which replaces the command system touchpad, which is a little more seamless and smooth, and it works with the MBUX system as always. The seats themselves are extremely comfortable, and a cool feature has been integrated that helps reduce fatigue during long journeys. However, they are not ventilated. The design overall is exquisite and looks quite luxurious. The materials which have been used look really nice, and you can also get some really nice spec cabin with the AMG line, which is even better. Now let's get on with how this E-Class is like to drive. The one we are driving is one of the more popular versions of the lot. The E200 Petrol uses the same 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder motor as before. It churns out 195 horsepower and 320 Nm of torque. Transmission duties are carried out by the 9-speed automatic. To drive, the engine offers a gradual and linear acceleration, and power is delivered smoothly as well. There's only one petrol engine on offer, but the grunt seems enough for what most people would require from it and ask of it. Additionally, the refinement and the noise isolation is beautiful. You don't hear the engine at all in the cabin, even at high speeds. The refinement is impeccable, to say the least. The gearbox is the same familiar unit as the E22 before. You don't feel the shifts at all. It's quite responsive from either the flick of the paddles or even when you give it a boot full of throttle for the kickdown. And that's even in just comfort mode. Stick it into Sport or Sport Plus, it livens up the throttle response, gear changes are quicker, and the steering is also a little heavier, so you get a better feedback from the steering wheel, and you get a more eager but still a gradual surge of acceleration. It's more elegant and it just wafts you along. Now, the brakes are sharp. Once you get used to them, you can give smooth inputs to come to a gradual halt rather than a jerking halt. Now, coming to the steering, it feels quite nice. It's direct and it weighs up really nicely at speeds. Also, at slow speeds, it's really light, so parking is also quite easy, and with the cameras and all the sensors around the car, it's quite a breeze. Maybe a touch of more feedback would have been better, but you're being chauffeur driven, so does that really matter? Now, importantly, the suspension setup and how the E-Class rides. It's always been a car that rides very plush. The one we're driving right now does not get the optional air suspension. We're riding on the regular steel springs. It offers a nice plush experience, as it always has. Not only does it ride the bumps well, you can throw it into a corner and it'll take it relatively flat, but with some give. So you have the confidence through the bends, but you do it in an elegant manner. You get a clear view out of the driver's seat. Even though it's quite a long vehicle, from behind the wheel you don't feel it at all. It's quite easy to maneuver. Additionally, with all the tech and features, the E-Class not only makes the life of the rear occupant, but also the driver as relaxing as possible. Things I do not like, however, in this car, the model we're driving right now, it does not get keyless entry, it seems. The boot now features a spare wheel, but it eats into a lot of space inside there, so it's very shallow. And You don't get a clear view of the touchscreen in some cases with the steering wheel coming in the way, so you have to like maneuver your head around, and sometimes reaching on the far side can be a bit of an issue. But if you're buying this car, you're most likely to be sitting on that seat. So none of these issues that I mentioned would probably be an issue to you. Sure, it's not as engaging to drive as a BMW 5 Series, but the E-Class, it isn't designed to be. It's focused towards offering the man in the back seat, the guy in the front seat, and everyone in the car a comfortable experience. I think it also looks quite elegant as well. Maybe the AMG line is the one I would opt for, but the petrol engine would be sufficient for most people. Overall, the E-Class offers the ideal balance of comfort and performance. It also offers some really cool features to keep you busy in the back seat as well. You would not complain much about it sitting in the rear seat. So if you're looking for a mid-sized luxury sedan, I could go ahead and recommend the E-Class to you. But as the sales numbers show, you've probably beaten me to it already. What is also great is the competitive pricing of the E-Class. It starts from 63.6 lakh for the petrol and 64.8 lakh for the regular diesel. But you also have the larger 6-cylinder E350 diesel, and you can have that for 80.9 lakhs. And in my opinion, you can't go much wrong with that.